Okay. Welcome to SHIFTology Live, where we make change, the art of change, really viable, easy, fun, with guests who share with you how they shifted from who they used to be to who they are now. I'm your host, Terry Wildemann, and I am thrilled that you are here today for this episode of SHIFTology Live. Our guest is Dr. Kelly Schwab, and I can't wait. I don't like that phrase. I love interviewing people like Kelly because she is a rock star. She has done things. Wait till you hear what she's done. She has done things that are so very remarkable, very, very cool, and is doing things to help change people's lives in ways that I've not seen before. So I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Kelly Schwab. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So, Kelly, tell us all about you.
All about me. That's a lot.
There is a lot. I looked at your application form and I was like,
Right?
wow, this is
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. Well, from a high level, would be I like to call myself the worth and wealth alchemist, really helping those high achieving, burned out Gen X women born 1965 to 1980 and on the cusp, helping these women 10x their income and impact without the hustle. My background, the doctor, comes from chiropractic. I had a successful chiropractic practice for many years. I've written two Amazon bestsellers. I'm a transformational coach like you and keynote speaker. So that's a little bit about me. I know we'll jump into story because I love storytelling.
Oh, we will. I was reviewing your form and it was like there was no doubt that I wanted you on this show because shiftology is all about the art of intentional, intuitive, and impactful change. And that is exactly what you have done. And I'm grateful for everything that you are currently doing. Now, one of the things you call yourself the Worth and Wealth Alchemist, and you're
Mm-hmm.
leading a group of female entrepreneurs and leaders to Mount Kilimanjaro this summer,
Mm-hmm.
raising $111,000 to build a school in Ifakara, Tanzania. How cool is that?
I know, it's so cool. It is so cool.
And you also run a GenX 10X collective and speak on embodied feminine leadership and coming wealth wave for women. What is that all about?
The wealth wave. Most women don't know about this,
No.
but in by 2030, so right around the corner, it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
There's going to be $34 trillion that will be transferred to Gen X women. And this is mostly like an inheritance, right? And many women don't even know that this is coming. Let me give you an idea, like what 34 trillion, like what does that mean? 34 trillion is enough to send every American woman to Harvard for 10 years.
Wow.
So that's the money that's being transferred. And I've been talking about worthiness for decades now, a woman's worthiness. And with that wave coming, whether or not you're an inheritor of that money, or maybe you work in the financial sector, or you have friends or family in this age group, like you want to be part of this wave because when a wave comes, if you're not ready, it will come and it'll go right back out as fast as it comes in. So kind of like lottery winners, they win the money, or athletes, Uber athletes, the NFL, they have access to all this money and it comes in and it goes out just as
Right.
fast. So it really isn't about embodying our worth and our value, whether you're receiving that wealth wave or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's really exciting. So let's take a step back. Tell me about this Kilimanjaro trip because that is remarkable.
that's my passion project. So people ask me, how did you get into that? And I'm all about impact, right? It's like you reach, I think, a certain mountain in life. Maybe it's your second mountain, your third mountain. I mean, your whole podcast, Shiftology, right? We have mountains that we climb physically and metaphorically, maybe not physically if you're not a climber. But we have these mountains that we want to climb and really make our lives meaningful, right? And so I'm at that phase in my life, really looking at the give back and the impact. And so just this past November, talk about living in flow and embodied feminine leadership. It was a Saturday night, and I was getting ready to meet a friend of mine the very next day to do 2025 goal setting. And I hadn't done a darn thing to prepare. And so I figured I'll start doing some mind mapping. You know, the mind mapping where you draw a little
Very
circle
well. I've
and
been
then it
mind mapping
floats.
for many, many, many
I
years.
love mind mapping, very right brain activity. And
Yes.
I was, as I was going through this, what do I want to create in 2025? Two spheres emerged. One said, climb a big mountain. And the other one said, align with a nonprofit, because I really wanted 2025 to be about the give back. The
Yes.
very next day, I received a text that my friend was canceling for our goal setting meeting. So I called another friend and said, hey, do you want to go for a hike? We go on this beautiful long hike. And I hadn't seen her for about 6 years because she's been a caretaker to her parents, and she had just lost her father. I said, Annie, what's really going on in your life? I have missed you so much. And she said, well, my father's dying wish was to build a school in Africa. And I got full body chills. And I said, I want to be a part of
Woo!
that. I'm going to help you. And why don't we bring a group of female visionaries and leaders to climb the mountain and raise money for the school? So that's how Killy with Dr. Kelly was born. Very much an open, listening state that I was in. And we are at about, I think right now, about $17,000 of our $111,000 goal.
Brilliant. Let's see
Thank
if
you.
we can help you get that goal. Now, I know that there was a big change in your life at one
hmm
point where you really truly shifted. Can you share that with us?
hmm So this would take you back to 2010. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had had a successful chiropractic business that I absolutely loved. In fact, the style of chiropractic that I practiced was called flow.
There you go.
So it was all, about getting people aligned and bettering their lives and their physical health and well-being. Well, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was bedridden for many, many months. And it was challenging, especially being a very active woman like I am. And I remember a moment where everything shifted, and it was like an awakening. And that awakening was I wanted to figure out a way how to have more impact. And no matter how many spines I could adjust in a day, I was still coming up against there's so many hours in a day. And so there's only so many people I could get my hands on. And there was this thing back then, even then, called the internet, and everybody, it was the buzz, right? Like to write a book and create a community and do all the things. And so I really, from that place of impact, wanted to do something different. And I never went back to my practice full time. And when I was sick, I had sent all of my patients to a dear friend of mine. So I wasn't currently practicing for that 9.5 months.
Mhm.
And so that was the big shift, stepping into authorship, coaching, community building. I built a community of 14,000 women. And yeah, that was the big identity shift. And I struggled with that because I was going from chiropractor to mother, which is a big shift,
It is.
and also to a woman that I wanted to have a philanthropy part of my life. And so that was 2010.
Wow. So in that shift, when you left behind the old you and
hmm
stepped into the new you, what was that like?
It was hard. Motherhood was easy. I'll tell you. I'm like a natural. I love being a mama. My daughter just celebrated her 15th birthday, and I think that was one of the best decisions I ever made was becoming a mama. So that identity, that new identity, was quite easy for me. But this like letting go and letting go and letting go of this identity as a chiropractor was really fascinating. You go to school for so long and all the academics behind it, and this new identity that was more coach consultant. Um, it was this. I can't even describe it, but you're trying to figure out like who I am. Like it was a big starting all over again, not having my hands on people anymore. And so I tell people I used to align people's spines like in person, and now I align women with next level wealth. And so it's an internal game and an identity shift, right? And when I speak of wealth, it's not just money, it's all the things,
All the
right? So
things. Yeah,
it's all the things.
you align people with their mind, body, and spirit and where they're meant to be in this lifetime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's an embodied process. It's a trust
Hmm.
process. It's a flow process. And yeah, you had mentioned earlier when before we hopped on the word surrender. It's a deep, deep, deep surrender that you are always guided. That there is there's another place that you're be guiding to, and the more you resist it, the harder it is.
And what I'm hearing is you have truly, aligned in that, like, for example, when I work with my clients, I help them harmonize the practical, the tactical, and the logical with the emotional, the energetic, the spiritual, and the intuitive.
Hmm.
It sounds to me, based on what you're talking about, is that you have done that very, very well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I have a saying in my practice, and that's presence is the portal to
Yes,
prosperity.
yes, it
And the
is.
more present we can be in our body, in our breath, with our emotions, it's amazing if we're willing to let go of ego and the mind, trying to figure everything out,
Yeah.
we really are guided.
Yeah, and it is about, I don't know about you, but in my opinion, it's we need to stop figuring everything out
Yeah,
and allowing our intuition, that deep,
absolutely.
beautiful intuition, to guide us with focus and uh, intent,
Absolutely.
and
And I,
allow the information to come in. Sometimes I don't know about you, and I don't know how you've experienced this, but there have been times when my practical mind took over. I mean, we are
Mhm.
human, and it's like, whoa, I gotta back off. I gotta
Yeah.
back off. What does my heart tell me? What is my intuition telling me? And we find that when we don't listen to that,
Hmm.
we end up making things hard.
We
But when we
do.
do listen to it,
Yeah.
life gets a lot easier. Do you find that to be true?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the tools that I use in my practice is human design.
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Yes, and human design, I like to describe it as your success blueprint that you were born with. And it would have been amazing if that manual of like how you're wired to succeed was gifted to your mother and your father. So they would know how to raise you because we're all unique. There's no one on the planet like you. And so, being that that is one of the tools that I use, I have had several times in my life and in my clients' lives where the mind is so strong. I work with highly intelligent women, driven women, and man, that mind can take over and begin to get in the way. Like there was a journey that I had not that long ago where I had wanted to partner with someone,
Mhm.
and it was basically it would have been a $25,000 investment. And in human design, I'm not meant to make big, bold, fast decisions, especially when it comes to money, without at least sleeping over it. And so I followed my own advice because my mind was like, "Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it." And my inner guidance was like, "Just wait." A week later, I found a friend of mine, or not a friend, a client of mine had a picture of her with this gentleman in front of a limousine with a bunch of beautiful women. And so I reached out to her. I said, "Have you worked with this gentleman?" And she's like, "Yes, he is a scammer. Stay far, far away. He took all my money and ran with it, and I'm fighting him right now to try to get reimbursed." So there isn't a great example of the
Yes.
mind said yes, like, "Ooh, that would have been a good move for you."
Mhm.
And I allowed myself to process. And so that was using how human design has taught me to really trust.
I'm a manifester in human design.
You are?
I am.
Oh
So,
my gosh, so cool. So you can actually initiate. You can like, you get that hit, you can go out there, you can initiate like a true manifester.
and I do.
I love it.
I
Hmm.
do. I'll give the
Hmm.
audience an example of this, and those of you who have been longtime listeners have heard this story before. When I was 8 years old, I told my dad, I'm Cuban by background, and I told
Okay.
my dad that I wanted to have two of my own and adopt one. And he was like, Ana Teresa, that's my formal Spanish name.
I love how you say
Teresa,
that.
why?
Gorgeous.
Thank you. Why do you want to adopt? And I said, Dad, there are so many kids in the world that need love, and I want to adopt one.
Hmm.
And so that was 8 years old. Then during my 20s, there were a lot of challenges, and four doctors told me I could never have children. And two of them said, well, we think we should have surgery, blah, blah, blah. Nope, ain't going to happen, people. And they're like, well, you're not going to be able to have kids. And I always said, watch me. Watch me. And I got married at 31, and 9 months and 2 days later, my oldest daughter was born.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful story.
And
Wow.
4 years later, my middle daughter was born on my 36th birthday, 6 weeks early. And then we adopted, when we moved here to Newport, Rhode Island, we adopted my youngest, my boy, from Guatemala. So I had my
Oh my God.
two and adopted one. And he and my oldest have the same birthmark.
You're kidding me. That is amazing.
So that's about trusting your intuition.
It is.
I could have allowed the doctors to control it.
Mm-hmm.
I could have listened to the doctors, and everything inside of me said, no, 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 no. No, I am doing things my way. And
Good
that's the
for you.
and boy, have I manifested stuff. Whew.
Isn't it amazing? So you're a manifester. I'm a manifesting generator. So I'm a hybrid,
Okay.
right? So my energy field starts out with the generator energy, and
Hmm.
then I quickly move into manifester mode. And yeah, it has been an eye-opening experience and a body of work that kept knocking at my door over years and years and years until finally it made sense that I was meant to help others with this tool.
So I'm curious, Kelly, would you be willing to share what human design actually is? Because a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
what it is. I do DISC, for example.
Oh, I love disc.
Okay,
I
I've been
absolutely love
certified
disc.
in that since 1994.
Yep. It's amazing profile. Yeah. What are
Yes.
you in disc?
A D, an I, and a C.
Okay.
And it used
I'm
to
an
be very
I.
high.
Yeah.
And over the years and maturity and more into my spiritual work, the intensity has lowered
Yeah. Yeah.
almost to mid-range. It's really changed.
Yeah, I should redo that because that's a tool that I have used for years. I've currently replaced it with Human Design. It's an excellent tool. And I'm like the last time I took it, I was like a 99I to give you an idea. I'm
Yeah.
an IS. So
I,
that's kind of and pretty low
they're
on the D.
extrovert and
Okay.
introvert at the same time, which makes sense with what
Exactly.
you're talking about with human design.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I mean, I grew up, my mom was like, you were my mountain goat from a very young age. And she's like, I didn't know what to do with all of your energy. And so the pediatrician said, why don't you put her into gymnastics? And that was the medicine. So that was that extrovert. But I'll tell you, over the years, I really yearn for that deep, still mount. I call it still mountain time. And it starts every day in stillness.
There you
And
go.
so you're right. So I have that external, but my needs for the quiet and being in nature have really grown
And that's very much
over
the
the
study of behavior.
years.
There you are.
Yeah.
So DISC is a behavioral language which is dominant, influential, steady, conscientious. And each
Hmm.
of them have an emotion, each of them have they're extrovert, introvert. It's simple to teach.
It
Human
is.
design is a little bit more full. There's a lot more
Hmm.
to it. Can you share
Yeah,
with us what human design is all about so that people can get an idea and they can seek you out when they're ready?
absolutely. So one of the things I would say about human design is that it's very, very, very detail oriented. Like I said, you have your fingerprint print and nobody else has it on the planet. So it will probably be a lifelong study for me because of the nuances, but it's made up of four ancient traditions that go back thousands and thousands of years. So the four ancient traditions are astrology, the Hindu Brahmin energy center or energy system. So like the chakras, think of it as the chakras. The Jewish Kabbalah, which gives the framework, and then the I Ching. So you take four powerful ancient traditions and you combine them all together, and that tells you basically the success roadmap. And it has been profound for myself and all of the clients that I serve to, first of all, when I teach it, I teach like what's the most important thing you need to know, right? And because I love the conversation of 10x.